Today's lesson focuses on how to solve percent problems using equations. So before we solve percent problems, some of the keywords that we would need to know what it means are these three words that you will encounter very often in almost every problem. The word of, if you ever see the word of, it means to multiply, means to multiply. So we're going to use the symbol either an X, a multiplication symbol, a dot. Those are all mean multiply. The word is means an equal sign, means equal. So we're going to use the symbol equal for the word is. And the word what is kind of like your unknown, things that you're trying to find out. So what is your unknown? We use the letter X to represent our unknown. Okay, so let's go ahead and learn how to translate from a sentence into an equation, and then in the next page I will show you how to solve those equations using these specific keywords. Alright, so notice that I see three keywords in here. In the first example, note the word is, the word what, and the word of. Alright, so I'm gonna use the symbol appropriately every time I see each one of those words. Alright, so example 1, 5 is means equal. What means the unknown, so I'm going to use the letter X. 5 is what percent of means to multiply 20. Alright, so we translated it. Now we're just gonna fine tune and write it in a more understandable form. So one way to write 5 equals to X times 20 is 5 equals to 20 times X, or we write 20X. You're done. That's the translation. So remember, the word is, of, and what has their meanings. Alright, 1.8. So 1.8 is an equal sign, 20%. Of means multiply. What number? Alright, of what number? Okay, now in an equation, percent needs to be turned to a decimal. So from the previous lesson, you learned that to turn a percent into a decimal, you'd shift the decimal point 2 places to the left. So here we got 0.2x, and we're done. So percent needs to be converted to a decimal in an equation. Okay, good. What number is 40% of 3.6? So what number is 40%? Turn that into a decimal. Of means multiply, and then 3.6. Done. Okay, direct translation. Good. 38%. So 38%. Remember, 1% as in an equation will be written as a decimal. 38% of means multiply. 200 is what number? Alright, so direct translation. Alright, so now we get a lot of these problems, but we get a lot of these equations, but what do they really mean? Well, in solving a percent problems, if we are able to multiply the percent and the base, then you get what's called the amount. So think of if you were at a restaurant eating dinner, think of the percent as the amount of money that you're going to tip at the end of your meal. So people usually tip 15% of what they spend. So the percent is, of course, what you tip. The base is what you spent on the meal. So if you spent $10 on the meal and you're tipping 15%, then the amount is $1.50, which is what you are. The amount is what you're going to tip. So in this case, it's $1.50. If you spend $10 and you tip 15%, then the product is going to give you the amount, which is how much you should tip. All right. So base is kind of like how much you spend. If you go to a supermarket and you spend $100 and you have a coupon that gives you 10% off, then the amount is how much you save. So in this case, it would be $10. All right. Okay, so find the amount. So in example 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to ask you to find the amount, which is how much you would save. All right. So we're going to we're going to translate, and then we're going to solve to find how much we would save. So find the amount if the percent is 15. So I want to know what the amount is. The percent is 15, so I know that this percent is 15. And as like I have told you before, percent when in an equation is a decimal. And then so you spent $40 on your dinner, so you want to multiply that with $40. Right, so you spent $40 on your dinner and you want to tip 15%. So technically, how much should you tip? And if you multiply these together, it comes out to be $6. So you will be tipping $6 for a $40 meal, which is 15%. All right. You went to a clothing store and you purchased $85 worth of clothing, but you have a coupon for $20. So how much did you save? All right. So amount equals to percent. So what number is the amount? What number is is an equal sign, remember? 20% of 85. Of is a multiplication and then 85. So let's go ahead and do the math. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 8 is 16, 17 with one decimal point here. So you save $17 on the transaction because you had 20% coupon. All right. So again, 80%, 85%, direct translation of 300 is what number? Okay. So we're looking at percent times the base. This is going to tell us how much we save. So you bought a big old TV and they give you 85% off. So how much do you save if the original cost was $300? So to make things easy, I'm going to go ahead and multiply and see what it is. So 0.85 times 300. 0.85 times 300 is going to give us 255. So 255. So you save $255 from the original cost, which is $300. All right. Now problem 7 and 8 is a little bit different. Problem 7 and 8 says that if you know how much if you know the amount, right, and the amount is usually how much you would have saved. What is the original cost? Because base is the original cost, right? Base is original cost. So I wrote this in these terms so that hopefully it's easier for you to understand. All right, so I'm gonna say 15%, or in other words, you went to dinner and you tipped 15%, and the amount that you tip is $1.20. You tip $1.20. So how much did you spend on the dinner? So what we do is, again, direct translation, 15%, write this as a decimal, so 0.15. Of means multiply. What number is the letter X? Is means equal 1.2. All right, so 0.15 X equals to 1.2. So from here, to find out what that number is, we would continue to divide both sides by 0.15. These will cancel out, so X equals 2. And then to save time, we're going to use a calculator to do our calculation. Comes out to be $8. So your meal would have cost you $8, which is what we call your base, your original cost, if you tip $1.20. All right. So example 8, you save 6.5%, which is $13. So how much did you pay at the mall in total? So start off with 13 is, remember, is an equal sign. 6.5%, turn that into a decimal. Of means multiply. What number is the letter X? So I'm gonna write it like this. What I did is I wrote this guy on the left side and I wrote 13 on the right side, so that's easier for you to see, hopefully. And the next step is to go ahead and divide both sides by 0.065. That will enable you to figure out how much you spent. So in this case, it comes out to be 200. This means that you spent $200 at the mall if you save $13, and the saving percent was 6%. So by knowing how much you save, you can figure out how much you spent, which is good, which is cool. All right, now in the last two problems, we're going to look at how to find the percent. All right, so you're going to be given the base and you're going to be given the amount. Remember, the base is how much you spent, your original cost. This is how much you save. So what is the percent of saving? Percent of saving. All right, so let's do a direct translation. What percent of means to multiply 12 is 9. All right, so rewrite the problem. 12x equals to 9, and then we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 12. So x comes out to be, we're going to go ahead and divide, comes out to be 0.6923, and so I'm going to go ahead and round this to 0.69. I'm going to round to the nearest hundred. Now this is a decimal. We are asked for percent. So the next step is to convert from decimal to percent, from decimal to percent, by moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So moving this 2 places to the right, it becomes 69%. So you save 69% if you got $9 back from a $12 original cost. All right, last problem. 35 is what percent of 25? So 35 is what percent of 25? All right, means multiply. So write it correctly. 25x equals to 35. We're going to go ahead and we're going to divide both sides by 25. Comes out to be 1.4. And then in order to make this into a percent, you move this decimal 2 places to the right. So it becomes 140. So it turns out to be 140% savings.